regularly head out to the west gate of their oil refinery. Let's exploit that opportunity and infiltrate their complex.
A lot of peacekeepers are dead because Keen has been using Conley. Find her and make it count.
Incoming backup request. Explosive seeker mine detected. Rogue defender drone detected. An agent needs assistance. System curtailed. System back online. Agent down. An agent needs assistance. Allies have acquired the boost. Allies have acquired the boost. Serious trauma. Agent down. An agent needs assistance. Rogue defender drone detected. Rogue stinger hive detected.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you're ready for this one because this build is truly a gem. Be Righteous here from Identity, and I've spent a lot of time on this build, going back and forth trying to figure out what the best composition of brand sets and talents would be. Well, I finally found a solution, and the combination of these different attributes brought about a build that is great for solo and exceptional in group play. If you haven't already, please drop a like, and if it's your first time here, then don't hesitate to subscribe for dedicated weekly builds and content. In the midst of one of the most hard to deal with metas spawns a build born out of creativity that is both ambitious and extremely satisfying. Blind Fury has a playstyle that carries with it great survivability for you and your team, which also brings deadly intent. The beautiful aspect of these combined attributes in this build flows so naturally with its inherent playstyle, not having to do anything more than being an adept player, then everything else will just come. Damage, survivability, and support. It's all there. And I'm going to show you how to put this together because it utilizes a talent that I have not personally seen anyone use in this manner. So let's get right into this. Alright guys, we're here, and I know I haven't uploaded a build video in a while, but that's because I've just been getting my new PC set up and it is going great. I had updated a lot of things, but I finally got it going and it's pretty sweet. I posted a picture of the final build on my community chat if you want to check it out. But let's get right into this build, man. Now, there's been a lot going on with Negotiator's dilemma in PvP and how devastating it is as far as how it could wipe a whole team by just marking people, and you can get killed without even fighting someone. So that's one build that doesn't have a counter, literally. So you just have to play as a team, and you have to have really good communication so that you can be able to conquer it. And I got some good builds coming up that'll help with that, like communication and team support. And this is actually one of them. So the specialization I'm going with is the sharpshooter. Sharpshooter has great accuracy and stability when you aim your weapon, and also gives you an extra 15% headshot damage with marksman rifles and rifles. So this build is called Blind Fury, and you're about to see why. Because first of all, it utilizes a talent that I haven't seen anybody use yet, and it's really slept on and amazing. First of all, the primary weapon I'm going with is this Tactical Vector SBR. Now, I've done some testing and I've seen other SMGs. Even the apartment that I had for my ninja build wasn't stronger than this. For some reason, this variant of SMGs is the strongest. I got a Vector SBR, not tactical, and it does 12,000 less damage than this. Even though this specific variant has 39 rounds in the magazine, it's well worth it because of the fire rate and because how hard it hits. Now, this was almost a god roll, right? Max stats is set for the optimal range, and I had to roll eyeless on this because of the build that I'm running. Okay, and you all probably know what eyeless does. It does 20% damage to blinded enemies, and its talent is like Sadist, Ignited. They all do the same things, but they just require different status effects. 20% is a lot, yo. All right, I'm an urban MDR head, okay? You don't have to use this weapon. This is just my personal preference. Everybody has their own preference when it comes to weapons. Rifles, especially because of the handling and the fire rate, is very different on a lot of them. I just think this is the best one for me and my playstyle. Also have eyeless on it. Pretty good, but it can be better. It can be a lot better. And I had to roll crit on here, okay, because this is a status effect crit build. Beautiful combination. If you ain't done that already, then you need to, because you can yield so much damage from both of those. For my sidearm, I have the Liberty pistol. Honestly, I don't really have any rhyme or reason why I'm using this, except for the fact that it hits really hard and it just matches with my outfit. You know, it's pretty sick if you look at it. Alright, on to the build, y'all. Check out this mask. I got this in the DZ, and it came with all 3 god roll stats. This one was weapon handling, so I just say, yo, I'm rolling crit damage on here, and I'm good to go. It would be nice to have offensive mod slot, but skill haste is good too. And Grupo Sombra you cannot pass up on a crit build because it comes with 15% critical hit damage for the first piece. You roll another 12% stat. That's 27% right there, man. It's crazy. If you don't have a Grupo Sombra mask, you can use another piece, but just make sure you have Grupo Sombra in another slot. Chest piece, Sokolov with Trauma. The first piece gives you SMG damage, the second piece gives you 15% crit damage. In another build that I made, I said that you should sacrifice a little bit of crit chance in order to get more crit damage because you'll do more damage. Critical hit damage actually increases the damage of your critical hits. So, I mean, it's also a preference because if you want to do a whole lot of crits and do less damage, you can. But for me, I'd rather, when I crit, do more damage with those crits so you get more bang for your buck. I'm going to show you the stat sheet later on so you can see exactly how much I have. Now, you want to have a Sokolov chest piece with both crit chance and crit damage if you can. This is just how it came, so I had to roll Trauma on here. You could blind somebody every 30 seconds, bleed them every 30 seconds. Nice talent, and especially goes with this build. Great. The holster. I haven't really dabbled with Golan that much. I think this might be one of my first builds with Golan. And I'm a status effect head. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I got some more builds coming up in the works with this, and it's about to be crazy. But anyway, this holster came with max armor, and I roll crit chance on it because it's a status effect crit build. So you want to roll crit chance or crit damage, depending on what ratio you want to have, and status effects. And the One Piece Golan gear comes with 10% status effects. Alright, this is the main part of the build, yo. This is what I was talking about in the intro when I said that it gives you massive support and damage for your team and yourself. You need one piece of Murakami because it gives you 20% skill duration. What skill duration does is that if you have a turret on the ground, it increases the duration for how long that turret is on the ground. But what it also does is it increases the duration of your status effects, if you didn't know. So if you blind somebody, it's going to increase that duration, and all you need is one piece for this. Murakami is another one of those brand sets that comes as a skill tier, so this is good for you to have. And this is a DPS hybrid, so you don't need that much skill tier, but what you do need is to stack status effects. This didn't come with any status effects, but I got what I got, you know. And that's what I wanted to say. This is a PvP and a PvE build. I rolled critical hit damage on it. Alright y'all, this talent called Galvanize is amazing, especially in PvE because you get more bonus armor while playing that. And in PvP it's kind of nerfed, but it's still good. Any bonus armor is good. So applying a blind, ensnare, confuse, or shock to an enemy grants 40% of your armor as bonus armor to you and your allies for 10 seconds. But they got to be within 20 meters of the enemy that's blinded. So if you're sitting back and your teammates are close, then they'll get the bonus armor, not you. But this is a perfect rush mechanic. So let's say I throw out a firefly and I'm like, yo, I'm blinding them, rush. Okay, so they're blinded and you have bonus armor. And even if they have immunity to status effects, you still get that bonus armor. It's crazy, man. So you could just make like a pure support build that's tanky and has a lot of skill haste and status effects. Food for thought. But anyway, I did say I was going back and forth trying to figure out what I wanted to do with this, right? First, I had like 1 million armor, and I said a long time ago that that's the standard for PvP for me. It's not anymore. It's just too squishy. So you need to be at least 1.3 million armor. 1.5 is really good. And you might be thinking that's too tanky, that's not enough damage, but that's where the critical hit damage comes into effect. That's why it's so important. It increases the damage that you have based on what your build is. If you're a tank, stack crit, you'll do that damage and replace the weapon cores that you don't have. So since this is a PvP and a PvE build, in order to get more damage in PvE, perfectly wicked, so you can get another 18% damage when they have a status effect, right? So you'll do more damage to the NPCs. And trauma not only blinds an enemy, but it applies bleed as well. And wicked doesn't discriminate. Wicked gives you that damage no matter what status effect you apply. So in PvE, this is what you want to do, right? Instead of the Golan gear holster, you want to run the Imperial Dynasty, which gives you status effects as well. You're losing out on a crit, but in PvE, the Imperial Dynasty is so good, especially when you have a lot of status effects, because status effects increase the duration and the damage of your status. So the enemies are going to be blinded and on fire and bleeding, and all the while you're going to be doing that wicked damage. So in PvE, that's the blueprint, okay? And you could also use Galvanize for massive team support, especially since it's a full 40% bonus armor that you get, right? I can't tell you how many times Galvanize has saved me when I face tank somebody, even when you get hit with a chem launcher. I mean, I remember I was playing a conflict match and I ran up on 2 people. One of them had a chem launcher and another one, I don't know what he was running. I dropped a sticky right in the middle of both of them, instantly down the first guy. And the other one caught on fire from my fire sticky. And I told you before I was going to bring out a build redeeming myself for my warrior build, because I spread some misinformation about the fact that the fire sticky does explosive damage, which it doesn't. So this is my redeeming build, kind of, right? Because it utilizes the fire sticky, and because I have status effects, this thing is crazy good. That's what you want to stack when you're using a fire sticky bomb. You want to use status effects because they are on fire for so long. When I hit them two with the sticky bomb, I killed the first one, and the guy that was using the chem launcher came around. He was still on fire. When I shot him in the head, it proc galvanized as well. That's why this is so crazy, because trauma activates galvanize too. So you shoot them in the head, right? You get bonus armor for blinding them with trauma. It's crazy. And so when I hit him in the head, he shot the chem launcher at my feet. I got the bonus armor and I tanked most of the chem launcher. And that's another thing, when you're more tanky, you're less likely to get one shot by the chem. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this backpack, but you have to know how good this talent is. Galvanize, y'all. Check it out. You can activate it with trauma. You can activate it with the blind firefly. That's all I'm going to say about this, all right? Gloves. You know I'm going to rock the firm handshakes, right? And I rolled armor on here. It came like this. It's always going to come with a max status effect 15%. I'd rather have critical hit damage. Of course, you know that, right? But this does 3 things. It gives you the status effect, because it's a named item. It gives you 15%, gives you the SMG damage and crit damage for the 2-piece with the chest. Awesome gloves. Just make sure you try to find some with crit chance or crit damage. All right, the knee pads, Fox's Prayer for my rifle, for my urban MDR. Another armor roll, and I need crit damage. It's crazy, y'all. I have over 100% crit damage already, and I'm missing crit on maybe 3 pieces. So if you have these Fox's Prayer knee pads with critical hit damage, then don't re-roll that. You know, keep it on there and roll armor if you can. Or like I said, the composition is up to you. Just make sure you get over 1 million armor and you have 3 pieces of armor rolls on here. All right, y'all, on to the skills. The Fire Sticky Bomb. It's only 1 skill tier, but when you hit somebody with this, the enemies are on fire for so long. And if you're running Wicked, it's great as well because you're doing that extra damage. But the on fire effect is so strong because of the status effects you have. This is a great interrupter. When you're fighting somebody, you hit them with the sticky, they stagger, they get on fire, and you can just light them up. Because it's a skill tier 1, it gives you 10% burn damage, 35% duration, and 15% skill haste. Not bad for a tier 1. And the second skill, the Blinder Firefly. Now this is the bread and butter, y'all. The blind duration in PvE is 10.2 seconds. PvP is 4.1 seconds. Now you could easily make this like a skill tier with like 5 tier or 3 or 4 tier, but you're definitely not going to do as much damage with your weapon, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I just want to rush in and just do massive damage like you've seen in the gameplay. This build hits so hard, and because of the SMG, the fire rate is crazy. You're blinding enemies, you're getting bonus armor. You're like a juggernaut, man, and you helping your team out. So when you throw this, it's a rush mechanic. You confuse people. And the beautiful thing about this build, because you do so much damage, is you don't have to rely on the blind because you have all that crit, right? The way that I like to use this is that when I'm at a distance, I throw this at enemies, I zone them with my urban MDR. When they're blinded, I'm tagging them with my rifle. You could play calculated with this build, or you could play close up. So this is when I have my team with me, I throw out the blind, I'm letting them know I'm throwing the blind, and then we all rush. I sit back and play support. It's like a 30-second cooldown, but that's all right because you got trauma, and in between that, you could blind them with that, right? So I really wanted to show you guys this build because you have so many mechanics that allow you to blind the enemy. You got trauma, you have the flashbang grenade, which has the biggest radius out of all the grenades, and it gives you the most. You have the blinder firefly. So I wasn't lying to you when I said this is one of the sickest builds I ever made. The playstyle is just so natural when it comes to damage and support and survivability. You just need to do what you got to do and go forward and play calculated and smart, and this build will do wonders for you. That's pretty much it for this build. Once again, I highly suggest that you use this build because it's not just a DPS, it's not just a status effect, it's not just a support build, it's all of those in one. And if you couple this with communication and team coordination, this will be a great build to conquer those teams that run Negotiator's Dilemma and True Patriot Pestilence. You know, it'll help you out a lot. Just imagine coupling this with somebody who's wearing Point Man. Bonus armor everywhere. It's great, I love it, and I just wanted to share it with y'all, and I hope you enjoy it. So if this build helped you out in any way, then please drop a like and don't hesitate to subscribe and come join the family. I'd love to have you. Until I see you in my next video, be right out.